Hence, home, you idle creatures, get you home. Is this a holiday? What? Know you not being a mechanical, you ought not walk upon a laboring day without the sign of your profession. Speak, what trade art thou?
Well, a trade, sir, I use with a safe conscience, which is indeed, sir, a mender of bad souls.
Thou art a cobbler, art thou?
Truly, sir, all that I live by is with the all. I meddle with no tradesmen's matters nor women's matters, but with all. I am indeed, sir, a surgeon to old shoes. When they are in great danger, I recover them.
Wherefore art thou not in thy shop today? Why dost thou leave these men about the streets?
Truly, sir, to wear out their shoes to get myself into more work. But indeed, sir, we make holiday to see Caesar and to rejoice in his triumph.
Wherefore rejoice? Well, what conquest brings he home? You blocks, you stones, you worse than senseless things. Oh, you hard hearts, you cruel men of Rome. Knew you not Pompey? Many a time and oft have you climbed up to walls and battlements, your infants in your arms, and there have sat the livelong day with patient expectation to see great Pompey pass the streets of Rome. And when you saw his chariot but appear, have you not made a universal shout? Do you now put on your best attire? And do you now cull out a holiday? And do you now strew flowers in his way that comes in triumph over Pompey's blood? Begone! Run to your houses, fall upon your knees, pray to the gods to intermit the plague that needs must light on this ingratitude. See whether their basest metal be not moved. They vanish tongue-tied in their guiltiness. Yet go you down that way towards the Capitol. This way will I disrobe the images if you do find them decked with ceremonies. Let no images be hung with Caesar's trophies. These growing feathers plucked from Caesar's wing will make him fly an ordinary pitch. Who else would soar above the view of men and keep us all in servile fearfulness?
Antonius.
Caesar, my lord.
Forget not in your speed, Antonius, to touch Calpurnia, for our elders say the Baron, touched in this holy chase, shake off their sterile curse.
I shall remember. When Caesar says do this, it is performed.
Caesar!
Ha! Who calls?
Let every noise be still. Peace, yet again.
Who is it in the press that calls on me?
Beware the Ides of March!
What man is that?
A soothsayer bids you beware the Ides of March.
I'll set him before me. Let me see his face. What sayest thou to me now? Speak
Beware.
once again.
Beware the Ides of March!
Ah, he is a dreamer. Let us leave him. Pass.
Will you go see the order of the course?
Not I.
I pray you do.
I'm not gamesome. I do lack some part of that quick spirit that is in Antony. Let me not hinder Cassius. Your desires, I'll leave you.
Brutus, I do observe you now of late. I have not from your eyes that gentleness and show of love as I was wont to have. You bear too stubborn and too strange a hand over your friend that loves you.
Cassius, be not deceived. If I have my veiled look, I turn the trouble of my countenance merely upon myself. Vexed I am of late with passions of some difference, conceptions only proper to myself, which gives some soil perhaps to my behaviors. But let not therefore my good friends be grieved, among which number Cassius be you one, nor construe any further my neglect that poor Brutus with himself at war forgets the show of love to other men.
And then, Brutus, I have much mistook your passion by means whereof this breast of mine hath buried thoughts of great value, worthy cogitations. Tell me, good Brutus, can you see your face?
No, Cassius, for the eye sees not itself but by reflection, by some other thing.
It's just, it's very much lamented, Brutus, that you have no such mirrors as will turn your hidden worthiness into your eye, that you might see your shadow. I've heard where many of the best respect in Rome, except immortal Caesar, speaking of Brutus, and groaning underneath this age's yoke, have wished that noble Brutus had his eyes.
Into what dangers would you lead me, Cassius, that you would have me seek into myself for that which is not in me?
Therefore, good Brutus, be prepared to hear. And since you know you cannot see yourself so well as by reflection, I, your glass, will modestly discover to yourself that of yourself which you yet know not of.
Caesar!
What means this shouting? Oh, I do fear the people choose Caesar for their king.
Aye, do you fear it? Then must I think you would not have it so.
I would not, Cassius, yet I love him well. But wherefore do you hold me here so long? If it be aught toward the general good, set honor in one eye and death in the other, and I will look on both indifferently. For let the gods so speed me as I love the name of honor more than I fear death.
I know that virtue to be in you, Brutus, as well as I do know your outward favor. Well, honor is the subject of my story. I cannot tell what you and other men think of this life, but for my single self, I had as lief not be, as live to be in awe of such a thing as I myself. I was born free as Caesar. So were you. We both have fed as well. We can both endure the winter's cold as well as he. For once upon a raw and gusty day that troubled Tiber chafing with her shores, Caesar said to me, "Darest thou, Cassius, now leap in with me into this angry flood and swim to yonder point?" Man, I plunged in. It bade him follow. And so indeed he did. But ere we could arrive the point proposed, Caesar cried, "Help me, Cassius, or I sink." So from the waves of Tiber did I bear this tired Caesar. And this man is now become a god? And Cassius is a wretched creature and must bend his body of Caesar carelessly, but not on him?
Caesar! Yes, Caesar!
Not the general
Take
said.
it!
I do believe that these applauses are for some new honors that are heaped on Caesar.
What, man? He doth bestride the narrow world like a colossus. And we petty men walk under his huge legs and peep about to find ourselves dishonorable graves. Men at some times are masters of their fates. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves that we are underlings. Brutus and Caesar, what should be in that? Caesar. Why should that name be sounded more than yours? Write them together. Yours is as fair a name. Sound them. It doth become the mouth as well. Weigh them. It's as heavy. Conjure with them. Brutus will start a spirit as soon as Caesar. Now, in the name of all the gods at once, upon what meat doth this our Caesar feed, that he is grown so great? Age, thou art shamed. Rome, thou hast lost the breed of noble bloods. When went there by an age, since the great flood, but it was framed with more than with one man? When could they say, till now, that talked of Rome, that her wide walls encompass but one man? Now is it Rome indeed, and Rome enough, when there is only but one man? Ugh. You and I have heard our fathers say, there was a Brutus once that would have brooked the eternal devil to keep his state in Rome as easily as a king.
That you do love me, I'm nothing jealous. What you would work me to do, I have some aim. For this present, I would not. So with the love I might entreat you, be any further moved. What you have said, I will consider. What you have to say, I will with patience hear, and find a time both me to hear and answer such high things. Till then, my noble friend, chew upon this. Brutus would rather be a villager than to repute himself a son of Rome under these hard conditions as this time is like to lay upon us.
I'm glad my weak words have struck but thus much show of fire from Brutus.
Take it, Caesar! Take it! Take it!
Turning.
Ah,
As they pass by, pluck CASCA by the sleeve, and he will, after his sour fashion, tell you what hath proceeded worthy note today.
Antonius,
Caesar.
let me have men about me that are fat, sleek-headed men, and such as sleep at nights. Yon CASSIUS has a lean and hungry look. He thinks too much. Such men are dangerous.
Fear him not, Caesar. He's not dangerous. He's a noble Roman and well given.
Would he were fatter. But I fear him not. Yet if my name were liable to fear, I do not know the man I should avoid so soon as that spare Cassius. Come on my right hand, for this ear is deaf, and tell me truly what thou thinkst of him.
Pull me by the cloak. You speak with me?
Hey, Casca, tell us what hath chanced today. That Caesar looks so sad.
Why, you were with him, were you not?
Why should not then ask Casca what hath chanced?
Why, there was a crown offered him. And being offered him, he put it by with the back of his hand thus. And then the people fell a shouting.
What was the second noise for?
Why, for that too.
They shouted thrice. What was the last cry for?
Why, for that too.
Was the crown offered him thrice?
Aye, Mary was it. And he put it by thrice, every time, gentler than the other. And at every putting by, mine honest neighbor shouted.
Who offered him the crown?
Antony.
Well, tell us the manner of it, gentle Casca.
I could be as well hanged as tell the manner of it. It was mere foolery. I did not mark it. I saw Mark Antony offer him a crown. Yet 'twas not a crown neither, 'twas one of those coronets. And as I told you, he put it by once. But for all that, to my thinking, he would have fain had it. Then he had it offered to him again, then he put it by again. But to my thinking, he was very loath to take his fingers off it. And then he offered it the third time. He put it the third time by. And still, as he refused it, the rabblement hooted and clapped their chapped hands and threw up their sweaty nightcaps and uttered such a deal of stinking breath because Caesar refused the crown that it had almost choked Caesar. For he swooned and fell down at it. And for mine own part, I durst not laugh, for fear of opening my lips and receiving the bad air.
Oh, soft, I pray you. What? Caesar swooned.
He fell down in the marketplace and foamed at mouth and was speechless.
It is very like he had the falling sickness.
No, Caesar hath it not, but you and I and honest Casca here, we have the falling sickness.
I know not what you mean by that, but I'm sure Caesar fell down.
What said he when he came unto himself?
Oh, Mary, before he fell down, when he perceived the common herd was glad he refused the crown, he plucked me open his doublet and offered them his throat to cut. And so he fell. When he came to himself again, he said, if he had done or said anything amiss, he desired their worships to think it was his infirmity. 3 or 4 wenches where I stood cried, alas, good soul, and forgave him with all their hearts. But there's no heed to be taken of them. Caesar stabbed their mothers, they would have done no less.
Did Cicero say anything?
I spoke Greek.
To what effect?
Nay, and I tell you that, I'll ne'er look you in the face again. But those that understood him smiled at one another and shook their heads. But for mine own part, it was Greek to me. I could tell you more news too. MARULLUS for pulling scarves off Caesar's images, put to silence. Fare you well. There was more foolery yet, if I could remember it.
Will you sup with me tonight, CASCA?
Nah, I'm promised forth.
Will you dine with me tomorrow?
Aye, if I be alive and your mind hold and your dinner worth eating,
Good. I will expect you.
do so. Farewell, both.
One fellow is this grown to be.
Hey, man, this rudeness is a sauce to his good wit, which gives men stomach to digest his words with better appetite.
Yeah, so it is. For this time, I'll leave you. Tomorrow, if you please to speak with me, I'll come home to you, or if you will, come home to me. I'll wait for you.
I'll do so. Till then, think of the world. Wow. Brutus, thou art noble. Yet I see thy honorable metal may be wrought from that it is disposed. Therefore it's meet that noble minds keep ever with their likes. For who so firm that cannot be seduced? Caesar doth bear me hard, but he loves Brutus. If I were Brutus now and he were Cassius, he should not humor me. I will this night in several hands in at his windows throw, as if they come from several citizens' writings, all tending to the great opinion that Rome holds of his name, wherein obscurely Caesar's ambition shall be glanced at. And after that, let Caesar seat him sure, for we will shake him, or worse days endure.
Are you not moved when all the sway of the earth shakes like a thing unfirm? I have seen tempests when the scolding winds have rived the knotty oaks, and I've seen the ambitious ocean swell and rage and foam to be exalted with the threatening clouds, but never till tonight, never till now, did I go through a tempest dropping fire. Either there is a civil strife in heaven, or else the world, too saucy with the gods, incenses them to send destruction. When these prodigies do so conjointly meet, let not men say, these are their reasons, they are natural, for I believe they are portentous things unto the climate that they point upon. This disturbed sky is not to walk in.
Who's there?
A Roman.
CASCA, by your voice.
Your ear is good. Cassius, what a night is this?
A very pleasing night to honest men.
Whoever knew the heavens to menace so?
Those that have known the earth so full of faults. You're dull, CASCA. Those sparks of life that should be in a Roman you do want, or else you use not. You look pale and gaze and put on fear and cast yourself in wonder to see the strange impatience of the heavens. But if you would consider the true cause, now could I, CASCA, name to thee a man most like this dreadful night? A man no mightier than thyself or me in personal action, yet prodigious grown and fearful as these strange eruptions are.
To Caesar, you mean? Is it not, Cassius?
Let it be who it is.
They say the senators tomorrow mean to establish Caesar as a king, and he shall wear his crown by sea and land in every place save here in Italy.
Yeah, I'll know where I'll wear this dagger then. Cassius then from bondage will deliver Cassius. Therein, ye gods, ye make the weak most strong. Therein, ye gods, you tyrants do defeat. But life, being weary of these worldly bars, never lacks power to dismiss itself. If I know this, know all the world besides. That part of tyranny that I do bear, I can shake off at my pleasure.
So can I. So every bondman in his own hand bears the power to cancel his captivity.
Yeah, why should Caesar be a tyrant then? Poor man. I know he would not be a wolf, but that he sees the Romans are but sheep. He were no lion, we're not Roman hinds. Those that with haste will make a mighty fire begin it with weak straws. What trash is Rome? What rubbish, what awful when it serves for the base matter to illuminate so vile a thing as Caesar. Oh, grief, where hast thou led me? I perhaps speak this to a willing bondman. And I know my answer must be made, but if I am armed and dangers are to me indifferent.
You speak to CASCA. And to such a man that is no fleering telltale, hold my hand and be factious for redress of all these griefs, and I will set this foot of mine as far as who goes the farthest.
There's a bargain made. Now, know you, CASCA. I have moved already some certain of the noblest minded Romans to undergo with me an enterprise of honorable, dangerous consequence. And I do know by this, they stay for me in Pompey's porch. For now, the fearful night, there is no stir, no walking in the streets. And the complexion of the element in favor is like the work we have in hand, most bloody, fiery, most terrible.
Stand close a while, for here comes one in haste.
Oh, it's CINNA. I know him by his gait. He's a friend. CINNA, where haste you so?
To find out you. Oh, what a fearful night is this. There's 2 or 3 of us have seen strange sights.
Am I not stayed for? Tell me.
Yes, you are. Oh, CASSIUS, if you could but win the noble Brutus to our party.
Be you content, good CINNA. Take this paper and throw it in at Brutus' window. All this done, repair to Pompey's porch, where you shall find us. Come, CASCA, you and I will yet ere day see Brutus at his house. 3 parts of him is ours already, and the man entire upon the next encounter yield him ours.
He sits high in all the people's hearts, and that which would appear offense in us, his countenance, like richest alchemy, will change to virtue and to worthiness.
Him and his worth and our great need of him you have right well conceded. Let's go. It's after midnight, and ere day we will awake him. Be sure of him.
Must be by his death. For my part, I know no personal cause to spurn at him, but for the general. He would be crowned. How might that change his nature? Well, there's the question. It is the bright day that brings forth the adder, and that craves wary walking. Crown him, that. And then I grant we put a sting in him, that at his will he may do danger with. The abuse of greatness is when it disjoins remorse from power. And to speak truth of Caesar, I have not known when his affection swayed more than his reason. But 'tis a common proof that lowliness is young ambition's ladder, whereto the climber upward turns his face, but when he once attains the utmost round, he then looks unto the ladder, turns his back, looks in the clouds, scorning the base degrees by which he did ascend. So Caesar may. Therefore think him as a serpent's egg, which hatched would, as his kind, grow mischievous and kill him in the shell. Brutus, thou sleepst, awake, and see thyself. Jerome, etc. Speak, strike, redress, Jerome, etc. Thus must I piece it out. Shall Rome stand under one man's awe? What, Rome? My ancestors did from the streets of Rome the Tarquin drive when he was called a king. Speak, strike, redress. Am I entreated to speak and strike? Oh, Rome! I make thee promise. If the redress will follow, thou receivest thy full petition at the hand of Brutus. It is my brother Cassius at the door, and with the faction, oh, conspiracy. Shamest thou to show thy dangerous brow by night, when evils are most free? Oh, then by day, where wilt thou find a cavern dark enough to mask thy monstrous visage? Speak, seek none conspiracy, hide it in smiles and affability.
I think we're too bold upon your rest. Good morrow, Brutus. Did we trouble you?
I've been up this hour, awake all night. No, I these men that come along with you?
Yes, every man of them. And no man here but honors you. And everyone doth wish that you had that opinion of yourself which every noble Roman bears of you.
They are all welcome. Give me your hands, all over, one by one.
And let us swear a resolution.
No, not an oath. If not the face of men, the sufferance of our souls, the times abuse. If these be motives weak, break off betimes, and every man hence to his idle bed. So let high-sided tyranny range on, till each man drop by lottery. But if these, as I'm sure they do, bear fire enough to kindle cowards, then countrymen, What need we any spur but our own cause to prick us to redress? And what other oath than honesty to honesty engage that this shall be? Or we fall for it?
Shall no man else be touched but only Caesar?
Decius, well urged. I think it's not meet Mark Antony, so well beloved of Caesar, should outlive Caesar. We shall find of him a shrewd contriver. And, you know, his means, if he improve them, may well stretch so far as to annoy us all. Which to prevent, let Antony and Caesar fall together.
Our course will seem too bloody, Caius Cassius, to cut the head off and then hack the limbs like wrath and death and envy afterwards. For Antony is but a limb of Caesar. Let us be sacrificers, but not butchers, Caius. Let's kill him boldly, but not wrathfully. Let's carve him as a dish fit for the gods. Not hew him as a carcass fit for hounds, and let our hearts, as subtle masters do, stir up their servants to an act of rage, and after seem to chide them. This shall make our purpose necessary and not envious, which so appearing to the common eyes, we shall be called perjurers, not murderers. And for Mark Antony, think not of him, for he can do no more than Caesar's arm when Caesar's head is off.
Yet I fear him for the engrafted love he bears to Caesar.
Alas, good Cassius, think not of him. If he loves Caesar, all that he can do is to himself. Take thought and die for Caesar, and that were much he should, for he is given to sports, to wildness, and much company.
But it's doubtful yet whether Caesar will come forth today or no. He is superstitious grown of late. It may be these apparent prodigies, the unaccustomed terror of this night, and the persuasion of his augurers may hold him from the capital today.
Never fear that. If he be so resolved, I can o'ersway him. But let me work, for I can give his humor the true bent, and I will bring him to the capital.
Well, all of us be there to fetch him. The morning comes upon us. We'll leave you. Brutus and friends, disperse yourselves, but all remember what you have said and show yourselves true Romans.
Good gentlemen, look fresh and merrily. Let not our looks put on our purposes, but bear it, as our Roman actors do, with untired spirits and formal constancy. And so good morrow to you, everyone.
Brutus, my lord.
Portia, what mean you? Wherefore rise you now? It is not for your health thus to commit your weak condition to the raw cold morning.
No, not for yours neither. You've ungently, Brutus, stole from my bed, and yesternight at supper, you suddenly arose and walked about, musing and sighing with your arms across. And when I asked you what the matter was, you stared upon me with ungentle looks. I urged you further, and then you scratched your head and too impatiently stamped with your foot. Yet I insisted, yet you answered not, but with an angry waft of your hand gave sign for me to leave you, so I did.
I'm not well in health, that is all.
Brutus is wise, and were he not in health, he would embrace the means to come by it.
Why, so I do. Good, Portia, go to bed.
Is Brutus sick? And is it physical to walk unbraced and suck up the humours of the dank morning? What? Is Brutus sick, and he will steal out of his wholesome bed to dare the vile contagion of the night and tempt the roomy and purged air to add unto his sickness? No, my Brutus, you have some sick offence within your mind, which by the right and virtue of my place I ought to know of. And upon my knees I charm you by my once commended beauty, by all your vows of love, and by that great vow which did incorporate and make us one, that you unfold to me yourself, your half, why you are so heavy, and what men tonight have had to resort to you, for there have been some 6 or 7 who did hide their faces even from the darkness.
Kneel not, gentle Portia.
I should not kneel if you were gentle, Brutus. Within the bond of marriage, tell me, Brutus, is it accepted I should know no secrets that appertain to you? Am I yourself, but as it were in sort or limitation to keep with you at meals, comfort your bed, and talk to you sometimes? Dwell I but in the suburbs of your good pleasure? If it be no more, Portia is Brutus's harlot, not his wife.
You are my true and honorable wife, and dear to me as are the ruddy drops that visit my sad heart.
If this were true, then I should know this secret. I grant I am a woman, but withal a woman that Lord Brutus took to wife. Tell me your counsels, I will not disclose them. I have made strong proof of my constancy, giving myself a voluntary wound here in the thigh. Can I bear that with patience and not my husband's secrets?
Holy God, render me worthy of this noble wife. Portia, go in a while, and by thy bosom shall partake the secrets of my heart. All my engagements I will construe to thee, all the charactery of my sad brows.
Nor heaven nor earth have been at peace tonight. Thrice hath Calpurnia in her sleep cried out, "Help, ho! They murder Caesar!"
What mean you, Caesar? Think you to walk forth? You shall not stir out of your house today.
Caesar shall forth. The things that threaten me ne'er look but on my back. When they shall see me, the face of Caesar, they are vanished.
Caesar, I never stood on ceremonies, yet now they fright me. There is one within, besides the things that we have heard and seen, recounts most horrid sights seen by the watch.
What can be avoided? Whose end is purposed by these mighty gods? Yet Caesar shall go forth, for these predictions are to the world in general, as to Caesar.
When beggars die, there are no comets seen. The heavens themselves blaze forth the death of princes.
Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once. Of all the wonders that I have yet heard, it seems to me most strange that men should fear, seeing that death, a necessary end, will come when it will come.
The augurers would not have you forth today. Plucking the entrails of an offering forth, they could not find a heart within the beast.
The gods do this in shame of cowardice. Caesar should be a beast without a heart if he should stay at home today for fear. No, Caesar shall not danger. He knows full well that Caesar is more dangerous than he.
Your wisdom is consumed in confidence. Do not go forth today. Call it my fear that keeps you in the house and not your own. We'll send Mark Antony to the Senate house, and he shall say you're not well today. Let me, upon my knee, prevail in this.
Mark Antony shall say, I am not well, and for thy humor I will stay at home. Here's Decius Brutus. He shall tell them so.
Caesar, all hail. Good morrow, worthy Caesar. I come to fetch you to the Senate house.
And you are come in very happy time to bear my greetings to the senators and tell them that I will not come today. Cannot is false. And that I dare not falser. I will not come today. Tell them so, Decius.
Say he is sick.
Shall Caesar send a lie? Have I in conquest stretched my arm so far to be afraid to tell the graybeards the truth? Decius, go tell them Caesar will not come.
Most mighty Caesar, let me know some cause, lest I be laughed at when I tell them so.
The cause is in my will. I will not come, and that is enough to satisfy the Senate. But for your private satisfaction, because I love you, I will let you know. Calpurnia here, my wife, stays me at home. She dreamt tonight she saw my statue, which like a fountain with 100 spouts did run pure blood. And many lusty Romans came smiling and did bathe their hands in it. And these does she apply for warnings and portents and evils imminent. And on her knee hath begged that I will stay at home today.
This dream is all misinterpreted. It was a vision fair and fortunate. Your statue, spouting blood in many pipes, in which so many smiling Romans bathed, signifies that from you great Rome shall suck reviving blood, and that great men shall press for tinctures, states, relics and cognizance. This, by Calpurnia's dream, is signified.
And this way have you, well, expounded it.
I have. When you have heard what I can say, and know it now, the Senate have concluded to this day a crown to mighty Caesar. If you shall send them word you will not come, their minds may change. Besides, it were a mock apt to be rendered for someone to say, break up the Senate till another time, when Caesar's wife shall meet with better dreams. Pardon me, Caesar, for my dear, dear love to our proceeding bids me to tell you this. And reason to my love is liable.
How foolish do your fair seem now, Calpurnia. I am ashamed I did yield to them. Give me my robe and I will go. And look,
Caesar?
Metellus has come to fetch me.
Good morrow, Caesar.
Welcome, Metellus. What, Brutus? Are you stirred so early too? Good morrow, CASCA. What is the clock?
Caesar, 'tis struck an 8.
Well, thank you for your pains and courtesy. See, Antony that revels longer nights is notwithstanding up. Good morrow, Antony.
So to most noble Caesar.
Bid them prepare within. I am to blame to be thus waited for.
Caesar, beware of Brutus. Take heed of Cassius. Come not near Casca. Have an eye to Cinna. Trust not Trebonius. Mark well Metellus Cimber. Decius Brutus loves thee not. There is but one mind in all these men, and it is bent against Caesar. If thou beest not immortal, look about you. Security gives way to conspiracy. The mighty gods defend thee. Here will I stand till Caesar pass along, and as a suitor I will give him this. If thou read this, O Caesar, thou mayst live. If not, the fates with traitors do contrive.
Well, the Ides of March are come.
Aye, Caesar, but not gone. Hail, Caesar, read this schedule.
Trebonius doth desire you to o'erread at your best leisure this his humble suit.
O Caesar, read mine first, for mine's a suit that touches Caesar nearer. Read it, great Caesar.
What touches us on self shall last be served.
Delay not, Caesar, read it instantly.
What is this fellow mad?
Sirrah, give place.
Where is Metellus Cimber? Let him go and presently prefer his suit to Caesar.
He's addressed. Press near and second him.
Casca, you are the first that rears your hand.
Are we ready? Oh, what is now amiss that Caesar and his Senate must redress?
Metellus, speak up. Speak up. Use
Metellus?
your true voice.
Can't.
Most high,
Use him.
most
There you
mighty,
go.
and most puissant Caesar, Metellus Cimber throws before thy seat an humble heart.
I must prevent these, Simba. These couchings and these lowly courtesies might fire the blood of ordinary men. But be not fond to think that Caesar bears such rebel blood. That will be thawed from the two quality with that which melteth fools. I mean sweet words, low crooked courtesies, and base spaniel fawning. Thy brother by decree is banished. If thou dost bend and pray and fawn for him, I spurn thee like a cur out of my way. No, Caesar doth not wrong, nor without cause. Will he be satisfied?
Is there no voice more worthy than my own to sound more sweetly in great Caesar's ear for the repealing of my banished brother?
I kiss thy hand, but not in flattery, Caesar, desiring thee that Publius Cimber may have an immediate freedom of repeal.
What, Brutus?
Pardon, Caesar, pardon. As low as to thy foot doth Cassius fall, to beg enfranchisement for Publius Cimber.
I could be well moved if I were as you. If I could pray to move, or prayers would move me. But I am constant as a northern star, in whose true fixed and resting quality there is no fellow in the firmament. The skies are painted with outnumbered sparks. They all fire, and every one of them doth shine. But there's but one in all that doth hold his place, and so in the world 'tis furnished well with men. and men are flesh and blood and apprehensive. Yet in the number I do know but one, that unassailable holds on his rank, unshaked of motion, and that I am he. Let me a little show it, even in this, that I was constant Simba should be banished, and constant do remain to keep him so.
Oh, Caesar!
Hence, wilt thou lift up Olympus?
Great Caesar!
Doth not bootless Brutus kneel?
Speak, hands, for me.
Oh! 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 A2 Brutus! A2 Brute, then fall, Caesar!
Liberty! Freedom! Tyranny's dead! Run hence! Proclaim! Cry it about the street!
Summon to the common pulpits and cry out liberty, freedom, and enfranchisement.
People and senators, be not affrighted. Fly not, stand stiff. Ambition's debt is paid.
Go to the pulpit, Brutus.
And Cassius, too.
Stand fast together, lest some friends of Caesar should chance.
Talk not of standing.
Where is Antony?
Fled to his house amazed. Men, wives, and children stare, cry out, and run as it were doomsday.
Face, we will know your pleasures. Stoop, Romans, stoop. Let us bathe our hands in Caesar's blood up to the elbows and besmear our swords. Then walk we forth even to the marketplace, and waving our red weapons o'er our heads, let us all cry peace, freedom, and liberty.
What? Shall we forth?
Aye, every man away. Brutus shall lead. And we will grace his heels with the most boldest and best hearts of Rome.
Soft, soft. Who comes here? It's Mark Antony. I know that we shall have him well to friend.
I wish we may, but yet I have a mind that fears him much, and my misgivings still fall shrewdly to the purpose.
Welcome, Mark Antony.
Oh, mighty Caesar, dost thou lie so low? Are all thy conquests, glories, triumphs, spoils shrunk to this little measure? Fare thee well. I know not, gentlemen, what you intend. Who else must be let blood? Who else is rank? If I myself, there is no hour so fit as Caesar's death's hour, nor no instrument of half that worth as these your swords, made rich with the most noble blood of all this world. No place will please me so. No mean of death as here by Caesar and by you cut off, the choice and master spirits of this age.
Antony, beg not your death of us. Though now we must appear bloody and cruel as by our hands, and this your present act, you see we do, yet you see but our hands, and this the bleeding business they have done. Our hearts you see not. They're pitiful. And pity to the general wrong of Rome, as fire drives out fire, so pity hath done this deed on Caesar. For your part, to you our swords have leaden points, Mark Antony. Our arms in strength of malice, and our hearts of brothers' temper do receive you in with all kind of love, good thoughts, and reverence.
Your voice shall be as strong as any man's in the disposing of new dignities.
Only be patient till we have appeased the multitude beside themselves with fear, and then we will deliver you to the cause. Why, I that did love Caesar when I struck him, have thus proceeded.
I doubt not of your wisdom. Let each man render me his bloody hand. First, Marcus Brutus, will I shake with you? Now, Caius Cassius, do I take your hand? Now, Decius Brutus, yours. Now yours, Metellus. And yours, Cinna. And my valiant Casca, yours. Gentlemen all, alas, what shall I say? My credit now stands on such slippery ground that one of two bad ways you must conceit me, either a coward or a flatterer, that I did love thee, Caesar. Oh, 'tis true. If then thy spirit look upon us now, shall it not grieve thee dearer than thy death to see thy Antony making his peace and shaking the bloody fingers of thy foes? Most noble, in the presence of thy course.
Mark Antony!
Pardon me, Caius Cassius.
I blame you not for praising Caesar so, but what compact mean you to have with us? Will you be pricked in number of our friends, or shall we on, and not depend on you?
Therefore I took your hands, but was indeed swayed from the point by looking down on Caesar. Friends am I with you all, and love you all. Upon this hope, that you shall give me reasons why and wherein Caesar was dangerous.
Or else this were a savage spectacle. Our reasons are so full of good regard that were you, Antony, the son of Caesar, you would be satisfied.
That's all I seek. And am moreover suitor that I may produce his body to the marketplace, and in the pulpit, as becomes a friend, speak in the order of his funeral?
You shall, Mark Antony.
Brutus, a word with you? You know not what you do. Do not consent that Antony speak in his funeral. Know you how much the people will be moved by that which he will utter?
By your pardon, I will myself into the pulpit first, and show the reason of our Caesar's death. What Antony shall speak, I will protest. He speaks by leave and by permission, and that we are contented Caesar shall have all the true rites and lawful ceremonies that shall advantage more than do us wrong.
I know not what may fall. I like it not.
Mark Antony, here, take you Caesar's body. You shall not in your funeral speech blame us, but speak all good you can devise of Caesar, and say you do it by our permission. Else say you shall not have any hand at all about his funeral, and you shall speak in the same pulpit whereto I am going after my speech is ended.
Be it so. I do desire no more.
Prepare the body then, and follow us.
Pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth, that I am meek and gentle with these butchers? Thou art the ruins of the noblest man that ever lived in the tide of times. Woe to the hand that shed this costly blood. Over thy wounds now do I prophesy, which, like dumb mouths, do ope their ruby lips to beg the voice and utterance of my tongue. A curse shall light on all the limbs of men. Domestic fury and fierce civil strife shall cumber all the parts of Italy. Blood and destruction shall be so in use that mothers shall but smile when they behold their infants quartered with the hands of war, all pity choked with custom of fell deeds, and Caesar's spirit, ranging for revenge with Ate by his side, come hot from hell, shall in these confines with a monarch's voice cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war, that this foul deed shall smell above the earth with carrion men groaning for burial. You serve Octavius Caesar, do you not?
I do, Mark Antony. He lies tonight within the 7 leagues of Rome.
Post back with speed. Tell him what hath chanced. Here is a mourning Rome, a dangerous Rome. No Rome of safety for Octavius yet. Hie hence, and tell him so.
Romans, countrymen, and lovers, hear me for my cause, and be silent that you may hear. Believe me, for mine honor, and have respect to mine honor, that you may believe, censure me in your wisdom, and awake your senses, that you may the better judge. If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, to him I say that Brutus' love to Caesar was no less than his. If then that friend demand why Brutus rose against Caesar, this is my answer. Not that I loved Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more. Had you rather Caesar were living and die all slaves than that Caesar were dead and to live free men? As Caesar loved me, I weep for him. As he was fortunate, I rejoice it. As he was valiant, I honor him, but as he was ambitious, I slew him. There's tears for his love, joy for his fortune, honor for his valor, and death for his ambition. Who's here so base that would be a bondman? If any speak, for him I've offended. Who's here so rude that would not be a Roman? If any speak, for him have I offended. Who is here so vile that will not love his country? If any speak, for him I've offended. I will pause for a reply.
None.
None.
Brutus,
Brutus, none.
None.
And none. Have I offended? Here comes the body, mourned by Mark Antony. With this I depart, that as I slew my best lover for the good of Rome, I have the same dagger for myself when it shall please my country to need my death.
Live!
Live, Brutus.
Brutus!
Live.
Good countrymen, let me depart alone. And for my sake, stay here with Antony. Do grace to Caesar's corpse and grace his speech, tending to Caesar's glories, which Mark Antony, by our permission, is allowed to make. I do entreat you not a man depart, save I alone, till Antony have spoke.
Stay, ho, let us hear Mark Antony.
Let him go up into the public chair.
Yeah, we'll hear him. Noble Antony, go up.
For Brutus' sake, I am beholding to you.
What does he say of Brutus?
He says for Brutus' sake he finds himself beholding to us all.
'Twere best he speak no harm of Brutus here.
This Caesar was a tyrant.
Nay, that's certain. We're blessed that Rome is rid of him.
Peace!
Romans.
Let us hear what Antony can say.
Countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus hath told you Caesar was ambitious. If it were so, it was a grievous fault, and grievously hath Caesar answered for it. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honorable man, so are they all honorable men, come I to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me, but Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? When that the poor hath cried, Caesar hath wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. You all did see that on the Lupercal, I thrice presented him a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Was this ambition? Yet Brutus says he was ambitious. And sure, he is an honorable man. I speak not to disprove what Brutus spoke, but here I am to say what I do know. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you then to mourn for him? Oh, judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason. Bear with me, my heart is in the coffin there with Caesar, and I must pause till it come back to me.
Methinks there is much reason in his sayings.
If thou consider rightly of the matter, Caesar has had great wrong.
Has he? Masters, I fear there will a worse come in his place.
Mark ye his words. He would not take the crown, therefore 'tis certain he was not ambitious.
Oh, poor soul, his eyes are red as fire with weeping.
Oh, there's not a nobler man in Rome than Antony.
Now mark him, he begins to speak again.
But yesterday, the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. Now lies he there, and none so poor to do him reverence. Masters, if I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, I should do Brutus wrong and CASSIUS wrong, whom you all know are honorable men. I will not do them wrong. I rather choose to wrong the dead, to wrong myself and you, than I will wrong such honorable men. But here's a parchment with the seal of Caesar. I found it in his closet. 'Tis his will. Let but the commons hear this testament, which, pardon me, I do not mean to mead. And they would go and kiss dead Caesar's wounds and dip their napkins in his sacred blood. Yea, beg a hair of him for memory, and dying, mention it in their wills, bequeathing it as a rich legacy unto their issue.
We'll hear the will. Read it, Mark Antony.
The will.
Will.
Let us hear
Have
his
patience.
will.
His will.
Gentle friends, I must not read it. It's not meet you know how Caesar loved you. You're not wood. You are not stones, but men. And being men, hearing the will of Caesar, it will inflame you. It will make you mad. It is good. You know not that you are his heirs, for if you should, oh, what should come of it?
Read the will.
Caesar's
will.
will.
Come on.
Read the will.
I have o'ershot myself to tell you of it. I fear I wrong the honorable men whose daggers have stabbed Caesar. I do fear it.
They were traitors, honorable men.
The will.
The testament.
Testament.
If you have tears, prepare to shed them now. You all do know this mantle. Oh, I remember the first time ever Caesar put it on. Look, in this place ran Cassius' dagger through. See what a rent the envious CASCA made? Through this, the well-beloved BRUTUS stabbed, and as he plucked his cursed steel away, mark how the blood of Caesar followed it, as rushing out of doors to be resolved if BRUTUS so unkindly knocked or no. For BRUTUS, as you know, was Caesar's angel. Judge, oh you gods, how dearly Caesar loved him. This was the most unkindest cut of all, for when the noble Caesar saw him stab, ingratitude, more strong than traitor's arms, quite vanquished him, then burst his mighty heart, and in his mantle, muffling up his face, great Caesar fell. What a fall was there, my countrymen. Then I and you and all of us fell down whilst bloody treason flourished over us.
Oh, piteous spectacle.
Oh, noble Caesar.
Oh, woeful day.
Oh, traitors, villains.
Bloody sight.
We will be revenged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Revenge.
Revenge.
Stay,
kill 'em, slay
countrymen,
them.
good friends, sweet friends, let me not stir you up to such a sudden flood of mutiny. They that have done this deed are honorable. What private griefs they have, alas, I know not, that made them do it, but they are wise and honorable, and will no doubt, with reasons, answer you. I come not, friends, to steal away your hearts. I'm no orator, as BRUTUS is, but as you know me all, a plain, blunt man that love my friend, and they know that full well that gave me public leave to speak of him. For I have neither wit, nor words, nor worth, action, nor utterance, nor the power of speech to stir men's blood. I only speak right on. I tell you that which you yourselves do know. I show you Caesar's wounds. Poor dumb mouths, and bid them speak for me. But were I BRUTUS, and BRUTUS, Antony, there were an Antony, would ruffle up your spirits, put a tongue in every wound of Caesar that should move the stones of Rome to rise in mutiny.
Yes.
We'll
will.
We'll mutiny.
Burn the house of BRUTUS.
Away then. Come, let's seek the conspirators.
Yet hear me, countrymen. Yet hear me speak. Why, friends, you go to do you know not what. Wherein hath Caesar thus deserved your loves? Alas, you know not. I must tell you then, you have forgot the will I told you of.
Most true, the will. Let's stay and hear the will.
Here is the will, and under Caesar's seal, to every Roman citizen he gives, to every several man, 75 drachmas. Moreover, he hath left you all his walks, his private arbors and new planted orchards on this side Tiber. He hath left them you and to your heirs forever. Common pleasures to walk abroad and recreate yourselves. And here was a Caesar. When comes such another?
Never.
Never.
Come, away, away.
Go, fetch fire.
Pluck down benches.
Pluck down forms, windows, anything.
Now let it work. Mischief thou art afoot. Take thou what course thou wilt. How now, fellow?
Sir, Octavius is already come to Rome.
Where is he?
He and Lepidus are at Caesar's house.
And thither will I straight to visit him. Oh, if he comes upon a wish. Fortune is merry, and in this mood will give us anything.
I heard him say Brutus and Cassius are rid like madmen through the gates of Rome.
But like they had some notice of the people, how I had moved them. Bring me to Octavius.
I dreamt tonight that I did feast with Caesar, and things unlucky charge my fantasy. I have no will to wander forth of doors, yet something leads me forth.
What is your name?
Whither are you going?
Where do you dwell?
Are you a married man or a bachelor?
Answer, every man, directly.
Aye, and briefly.
Aye, and wisely.
Aye, and truly. You were best.
What is my name? Whither am I going? Where do I dwell? And am I a married man or a bachelor? Then to answer every man directly and briefly, wisely and truly. Wisely, I say, I'm a bachelor.
Oh, that's as much as to say they are fools that marry. You'll bear me a bang for that, I fear. Proceed directly.
Directly, I'm going to Caesar's funeral.
As a friend or as an enemy?
As a friend.
That matter is answered directly.
For your dwelling, briefly.
Briefly, I dwell by the Capitol.
Your name, sir, truly.
Truly, my name is CINNA.
Tear him to pieces. He's a conspirator.
Oh, I'm CINNA the poet. I'm CINNA the poet.
Tear him for his bad words. Tear him for his bad verses.
I'm not CINNA the conspirator.
No matter. His name's CINNA. Pluck but his name out of his heart and turn him going.
Tear him.
I'm not. I'm CINNA. I'm not CINNA the spot.
These many then shall die. Their names are pricked.
Your brother too must die. Consent you, Lepidus?
I do consent.
Prick him down, Anthony.
Upon condition Publius shall not live, who is your sister's son, Mark Antony.
He shall not live. Look, with a spot I damn him. But Lepidus, fetch the will hither, and we shall determine how to cut off some charge and legacies.
What, shall I find you here?
Or here or at the Capitol.
This is a slight, unmeritable man, meet to be sent on errands. Is it fit, the threefold world divided, he should stand one of the three to share it?
He is a tried and valiant soldier.
So is my horse, Octavius. Do not talk of him, but as a property. And now, Octavius, listen, great things. Brutus and Cassius are levying powers and must straight make head. Therefore, let our alliance be combined. And let us presently go sit in council how covert matters may be best disclosed and open perils surest answered.
Let us do so, for we are at the stake, and bade about with many enemies. And some that smile have in their hearts, I fear, millions of mischiefs.
Most noble brother, you have done me wrong!
Judge me, you gods, wrong I mine enemies, and if not so, how should I wrong a brother?
Brutus, this sober form of yours hides wrongs, and when you do them...
Cassius, be content. Speak your griefs softly. I do know you well. Before the eyes of both our armies here, which should perceive nothing but love from us, let us not wrangle. Bid them move away, then in my tent, Cassius, enlarge your griefs, and I will give you audience.
Tinius, bid our commanders lead their charges off a little from this ground.
Messala, do you the like, and let no man come to our tent till we have done our conference. Let you both and Titinius guard the door.
That you have done me wrong appears in this. You have condemned and noted Lucius Pella for taking bribes here of the Sardians, where in my letters, praying on his side because I knew the man were slighted off.
You wronged yourself to write in such a case.
In such a time as this, it is not meet that every nice offense should bear his comment.
Let me tell you, Cassius, you yourself are much condemned to have an itching palm to sell and mark your offices for gold to undeservers.
An itching palm? You know that you're Brutus that speaks this, or else, by the gods, this speech were your last.
The name of Cassius honors this corruption, and chastisement doth therefore hide his head.
Chastisement?
Remember March. The Ides of March, remember. Did not great Julius bleed for justice' sake? What villain touched his body that did stab and not for justice? What shall one of us that struck the foremost man in all this world contaminate our fingers with base bribes and sell the mighty space of our large honors for so much trash as may be grasped thus? I'd rather be a dog and bathe the moon than such a Roman.
Brutus, bay not me. I'll not endure it. You forget yourself to hedge me in. I am a soldier. I, older in practice, abler than yourself to make conditions.
Go to, you are not, Cassius.
I am.
I say you're not.
Urge me no more. I shall forget myself. Have mind upon your health and tempt me no further.
Away, slight man.
It's possible.
Hear me, for I will speak. Must I give way and room to your rash choler? Shall I be frighted when a madman stares?
Oh, you gods, must I endure all this?
All this, aye, more. Fret till your proud heart break. Go show your slaves how choleric you are and make your bondmen tremble. Must I budge? Must I observe you? Must I stand and crouch under your testy humor? By the gods, you shall digest the venom of your spleen, though it do split you. For from this day forth, I'll use you for my mirth, yea, for my laughter when you're waspish.
Is it come to this?
You say you're a better soldier. Huh? Let it appear so. Make your vaunting true, and it shall please me well. For mine own part, I shall be glad to learn of noble men.
You wrong me every way. You wrong me, Brutus. I said an elder soldier, not a better. Did I say better?
If you did, I care not.
When Caesar lived, he durst not thus have moved me.
Oh, peace, peace. You durst not so have tempted him.
I durst not?
No.
What? Durst not tempt him?
For your life, you durst not.
Do not presume too much upon my love. I may do that. I shall be sorry for.
You have done that. You should be sorry for. No terror, Cassius, in your threats, for I am armed so strong in honesty that they pass by me as idle as the wind, which I respect not. I did send for you some certain sums of gold which you denied me, which I can raise no money by vile means. I did send to you for gold to pay my legions, which you denied me. Was that done like Cassius? Should I have answered Caius Cassius so? When Marcus Brutus grows so covetous to lock such rascal counters from his friends, be ready, gods, with all your thunderbolts, dash him to pieces.
I denied you not.
You did.
I did not. He was but a fool that brought my answer back. Brutus hath arrived my heart. A friend should bear his friend's infirmities, but Brutus makes mine greater than they are.
I do not till you practice them on me.
You love me not?
I do not like your faults.
A friendly eye could never see such faults.
Flatterers would not. Though they do appear as huge as high Olympus.
Come, Antony. Young Octavius, come, revenge yourselves alone on Cassius, for Cassius is aweary of this world. Hated by one he loves, braved by his brother, checked like a bondman, and all his faults observed, set in a notebook, learned and conned by rote to cast into my teeth. Oh, I could weep my spirit from mine eyes. Here's my dagger. Here's my naked breast. If that thou beest a Roman, take it forth. I, that denied thee gold, will give my heart. Strike! As thou didst at Caesar. For I know, when thou didst hate him worst, thou lovest him better than ever thou lovest Cassius.
Sheathe your dagger. Sheathe your dagger. Be angry when you will, it shall have some scope. Do what you will, dishonor shall be humor. Cassius, you're yoked with a lamb that carries anger as flint bears fire, who much in force shows a hasty spark and straight's cold again.
Have Cassius lived to be but mirth and laughter to his Brutus, when grief and blood ill-tempered vexeth him?
When I spoke that, I was ill-tempered too.
Do you confess so much? Give me your hand.
And my heart too.
Oh, man. I did not think you could have been so angry, man.
Cassius, I'm sick of many griefs.
Of your philosophy you make no use if you give place to accidental evils.
No man bears sorrow better. Portia's dead.
Huh?
She's dead.
Portia. How escaped I killing when I crossed you so? Oh, insupportable and touching loss. Upon what sickness?
Impatient of my absence? In grief that young Octavius with Mark Antony had made themselves so strong, for with her death the tidings came. With this she fell distract, and her attendants absent. She swallowed fire.
Died so.
Even so.
Oh, you immortal gods.
Speak no more of her. Come in, Titinius. Welcome, good Messala. Now sit we close about the taper here and call in question our necessities.
Portia, art thou gone?
No more, I pray you. Messala, I have here received letters that young Octavius and Mark Antony come down upon us with a mighty power, bending their expedition toward Philippi.
Myself have letters of the selfsame tenor.
With what addition?
That by prescription and bills of outlawry, Octavius, Antony, and Lepidus have put to death 100 senators. Have you your letters from your wife, my lord?
No, Messala.
Nor nothing in your letters rid of her?
Nothing, Messala.
That methinks is strange.
Why, ask you, hear you aught of her in yours?
No, my lord.
Now, as you are a Roman, tell me true.
Then like a Roman bear the truth I tell. For certain, she is dead, and by strange manner.
My farewell, Portia. We must die, Messala. With meditating that she must die once, I have the patience to endure it now.
Even so, great men, great losses should endure.
Well, to our work alive. What do you think of marching to Philippi presently?
I do not think it good.
Your reason?
This it is. 'Tis better to the enemy seek us. So shall we waste his means, weary his soldiers, doing himself offense, whilst we, lying still, are full of rest, defense, and nimbleness.
Good reasons must of force give place to better. The people twixt Philippi and this ground do stand but in a forced affection, for they have grudged us contribution. The enemy marching along by them, by shall them make a fuller number up. Come on, refresh, new added and encouraged, from which vantage we shall cut them off. If at Philippi we do face them there, these people at our back.
Hear me, good brother.
Under your pardon, you must know beside that we have tried the utmost of our friends. Our legions are brimful, our cause is ripe. The enemy increaseth every day. We at the height are ready to decline. There is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood leads on to fortune. Omitted, all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries. On such full sea are we now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves or lose our ventures.
Then, with your will, go on. We'll along ourselves and meet them at Philippi.
The deep of night has crept upon our talk, and nature must obey necessity, which we will niggard with a little rest. There's no more to say?
No more. Good night. Early tomorrow we will rise, and hence. My dear brother, this was an ill beginning of the night. Never comes such division twixt our souls. Let it not, Brutus.
Everything's well.
Good night, my lord.
Good night, good brother. How ill this taper burns. Huh. Oh. Who comes here? Art thou some god, some angel, or some devil that makes my blood cold and my hair to stare? Speak to me what thou art. Speak to
Thy
me.
evil spirit, Brutus.
Why comest thou?
To tell thee thou shalt see me at Philippi.
Well, then I shall see thee again.
Aye.
At Philippi.
I will see thee at Philippi then. I've taken heart thou vanishest. Ill spirit, I would hold more talk with thee.
Now, Antony, our hopes are answered. You said the enemy would not come down, but keep the hills and upper regions. It proves not so. Their battles are at hand. They mean to warn us at Philippi here, answering before we do demand of them.
Tut, I am in their bosoms, and I know wherefore they do it. That they could be content to visit other places and come down with fearful bravery, thinking by this face to fasten in our thoughts that they have courage. But 'tis not so. Octavius, lead your battle softly on, upon the left hand of the even field.
On the right hand, I keep thou the left.
Why do you cross me in this exigent?
I do not cross you, but I will do so. Make forth. The generals would have some words.
Words before blows, so countrymen.
Not that we love words better, as you do.
Good words are better than bad strokes, Octavius.
Oh, and your bad strokes, Brutus, you give good words. Witness the hole you made in Caesar's heart, crying, "Long live, hail Caesar!" You showed your teeth like apes, and fawned like hounds, and bowed like bondmen, kissing Caesar's feet, whilst damned CASCA, like a cur behind, struck Caesar in the neck. Oh, you flatterers.
Flatterers. Now, Brutus, thank yourself. This tongue had not offended so today if Cassius might have ruled.
Come, the cause. If arguing make us sweat, the proof of it will turn to redder looks. Look. I draw a sword against conspirators. When think you that the sword goes up again? Never, till Caesar's 33 wounds be well avenged, or till another Caesar have added slaughter to the sword of traitors.
Caesar, thou canst not die by traitors' hands unless thou bringst them with thee.
So I hope. I was not born to die on Brutus's sword.
No, if thou wert the noblest of thy strain, young man, thou couldst not die more honorable.
A peevish schoolboy, worthless of such honor, join with a masker and a reveler?
Old Cassius still.
Come. Antony away. Defiance, traitors, hurl we in your teeth. If you dare to fight today, come to the field. If not, when you have the stomachs.
Now blow wind, swell, billow, and swim bark. The storm is up and all is on the hazard.
Oh, Messala, work with you.
My lord.
Tinius.
What says my general?
Tinius, this is my birthday. This very day was Cassius born. Give me thy hand. Tinius, be thou my witness that against my will, as Pompey was, am I compelled to set upon one battle all our liberties. Now, most noble Brutus, the gods today stand friendly that we may, lovers in peace, lead on our days to age. But since the affairs of men still rest uncertain, let's reason with the worst that may befall. If we do lose this battle, then is this the very last time we shall speak together? What are you then determined to do?
Even by the rule of that philosophy, which I did blame Cato for the death which he did give himself, I know not how. But I do find it cowardly and vile for fear what might fall. So to prevent the time of life, arming myself with patience to stay the providence of some high powers that govern us below.
Then, if we lose this battle, you are contented to be led in triumph through the streets of Rome.
No, Cassius, no. Think not, thou noble Roman, that ever Brutus will go bound to Rome. He bears too great a mind. But this same day must end that work the Ides of March begun. And whether we shall meet again, I know not. Therefore, everlasting farewell take, forever and forever. Farewell, Cassius. If we do meet again, why we shall smile. If not, why then this parting was well made.
Oh, forever and forever. Farewell, Brutus. If we do meet again, we'll smile indeed. If not, 'tis true. This parting was well made.
Yeah. Why then lead on. Oh, that a man might know the end of his day's business ere it come, but it sufficeth that the day will end. And then the end is known. Come ho, away.
Look, Tinius, look, the villains fly.
Oh, Cassius, Brutus gave the word too early, who, having some advantage on Octavius, took it too eagerly. His soldiers fell to spoil, whilst we by Antony are all enclosed. Fly further off, my lord, fly further off. Mark Antony is in your tents, my lord. Fly therefore, noble Cassius, fly far off.
This day I breathed first. Time is come round, and where I did begin, there shall I end. My life is run, is compass. Come now. And with this good sword that ran through Caesar's bowels, search this bosom. Stand not to answer. Here, take thou the hilts, and when my face is covered, as 'tis now, guide thou the sword. Caesar, nor revenge, even with the sword that killed thee.
Oh, Julius Caesar, thou art mighty yet. Thy spirit walks abroad and turns our swords in our own proper entrail. The last of all the Romans, fare thee well. It is impossible that ever Rome should breed thy fellow friends. I owe more tears to this dead man than you shall see me pay.
Now is that noble vessel full of grief that it runs over even at his eyes.
Come hither, good Volumnius, list a word.
What says my lord?
By this, Volumnius, the ghost of Caesar had appeared to me 2 several times by night, at Sardis once, and this last night here in Philippi fields. I know my hour's come.
Not so, my lord.
Nay, I'm sure it is, Volumnius. Thou seest the world, Volumnius, how it goes. Our enemies have beat us to the pit. It's more worthy to leap in ourselves than tarry till they push, good Volumnius. Thou knowest that we two went to school together. Even for that our love of old, I pray thee, hold thou my sword hilts whilst I run on it.
No, it's not an office for a friend, my lord.
My heart doth joy that yet in all my life I found no man, but he was true to me. I shall have glory by this losing day, more than Octavius and Mark Antony by this vile conquest shall attain unto. So fare you well at once, for Brutus' tongue hath almost ended his life's history. Night hangs upon my eyes, my bones would rest, that have but labored to attain this hour.
Oh, fly, my lord, we must fly.
Hence I will follow. I pray thee, stay thou by thy lord, Volumnius. Thou art a fellow of good respect. Thy life hath had some smatch of honor in it. Hold then my sword. Turn away thy face while I do run upon it. Wilt thou?
Give me your hand first. Fare you well, my lord.
Farewell, good Volumnius. Caesar, now be still. I killed not thee with half so good a will.
This was the noblest Roman of them all. All the conspirators, save only he, did that they did in envy of great Caesar. He only, in a general honest thought and common good to all, made one of them. His life was gentle, and the elements so mixed in him that nature might stand up and say to all the world, this was a man.
According to his virtue, let us use him. With all respect and rites of burial, within my tent his bones tonight shall lie. Most like a soldier ordered honorably. So call the field to rest and let's away, to part the glories of this happy day.
Hello, hello, hello. I don't know why my video is not working.
Hola, hola, hola.
That's a great question. Well, I can still speak. So, amazing job, everybody. You can't see me, but I'm applauding. Maybe you can hear me. Yay. And thank you all so much out there for watching along with us. Well, especially since you can't see me, I'll get to this quickly. We're going to do 3 questions that we always do after each one of these. We'll have the actors answer them first, but audience watching on YouTube, please feel free to go ahead and shoot your response into the comments there. And also, as we're going through this, if you have any questions you want to ask of the company, you can throw those in the YouTube chat as well, and we'll get to them at the end. After this quick little 10-minute tidbit, some of us are going to pop over to the company pub for this show, which is a benefit for folks who are supporting us on Patreon. So if you'd like to join us there, hop over to patreon.com/Shakespeare Happy Hours right now. If you make a donation now, we'll send you the info this evening. So on to the questions. What did you learn about the play that you didn't know before? Actors first, and then to you on YouTube.
I was struck by, particularly because I had the view off for a while, and so I was just listening. And Portia's speech to Brutus in particular, the argument, I mean, when I say argument, I mean the convincing, the logic of so many of the speeches in persuasion and methods of persuasion, it struck me as very interesting. It happens a lot in the show. And Portia's, it's like, you're going to have to tell me. And no, I'm not gonna. And just going on. And then, well, reason, it was just, I'd never thought of it or really heard it that way. And it was very, and also I just loved the speech, and we did a wonderful job. But yeah, it's a lot of, and throughout the show, people persuading people from the very beginning to either good or ill. But anyway, so that's something that had never occurred to me in this show.
Awesome. Anybody else from our side of the aisle?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and echo that. I don't think it's been a while since I read Caesar. So I think I had forgotten how much debate and persuasion goes on in this play. Like everyone is, I mean, it is completely, it's interesting to me how much violence and how history is changed by so much impassioned, almost senatorial debate from character to character. Like, what if Calpurnia had won the argument and made Caesar stay at home? What happens if Mark Antony wasn't such a clever orator and hadn't swayed the crowd over to his side? It really was illuminating to see like how much the course of events really hung on who made the better argument.
Awesome. That does our time on the first question. The second question, what image, phrase, or word from the play popped out to you today?
Portia has this line that I had never really heard before, that dwell I but in the suburbs of your good pleasure.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's a great line.
Anybody else have something?
The image of Dan and Dylan just having it out over Zoom was really impactful, because it reminds me that these guys are dear friends. And I often see this play and think about this play. And I'm like, all right, these are colleagues who are petty, and they're just really, trying to sucker punch the other one into, letting them have the upper hand. And it's not. Or at least today, it was absolutely about them being hurt and being sad and misunderstanding each other. And there was such an intimacy and a sense of privacy as well. I know in the rehearsal we had talked about, how do we know when we're in public and when we're alone? And I really felt like I'm eavesdropping on these two guys having a conversation in a shared but a personal digital space. And it just made it a lot more meaningful for them to unite again, and then for them to lose each other.
I really enjoyed just hearing Antony's speech again, and really understanding the power of the crowd like just how important they are in terms of convincing them and getting them on side, but also how dangerous they were. And that scene with Cinna, the poet, just how frightening that encounter is, and how recognizable that is when somebody is othered within our society. So that really rung true. But also the way that Antony used that sense of he's given, Caesar's like in his will has given you his parks, all of this stuff belongs to you, like just that relationship between like society and the Senate, I found just really pinged out for me today.
Cool. Last chance on folks from our side. We have Doug Decker in the YouTube chat says today what popped out was, we must take the current when it serves or lose our ventures, which is another great one. And then on to our final of our questions before we get to some of your questions. And thank you for posting those questions in the chat. Why does the, and I guess Jenny kind of just started on this answer already, which is great. Why does this play matter to you right now?
I mean, I think it's I'm picking low-hanging fruit here, but there's such a corollary between the way Caesar runs his court, his government, and the current situation that we all experience. I mean, like, it's not unheard of anymore, unfortunately, to have some guy literally call out to God and say, I am more powerful than you are, and God knows it, and he's afraid of me, and I'm the one who is never wrong. And like I said, low-hanging fruit. But
yeah, I think that what sticks out that I have like a empty space inside me that is yearning for it is like pride of country, the will to be proud enough for where you're from to lay everything out. And I think there has not, right now, especially what we're going through, there's been little to be proud of as far as the governance. So it makes me yearn for that. So it's a reminder of how good it could be, I think, in certain individuals and for what they fight for.
I think it also makes us think about who we listen to and who we don't listen to. There's a very clear, like, oh, well, we're not going to listen to the women and we're not going to listen to the people in the streets who like don't look as rich as I am. And I think it just reminds us to accept that truth can come from directions we don't expect.
I think it makes you ask as well, how do you decide when you're making the right choice? Because you're going to find people who can convince you that you're doing the right thing. Brutus persuades the whole crowd, and then Antony steps up and he changes all their minds. And imagine if they gave him space for Brutus to come back, he could probably sway them again. It's just who's the last person you listen to when you decide your mind's made up, because you're going to find the endorsement that you want. So what do you want?
But that's the interesting thing to me, is that one person just gives their opinion of what someone was doing, and the other person, Antony, comes and gives facts. He says, I have the will. Did he not do this? Did he not do that? Whereas Brutus said, well, you know, he was a dictator, and just take my word for it. And then Antony says, yeah, maybe that's true, but this is what he did do, and this is what he said he did. And that's what we're experiencing nowadays, where someone says, well, you know, this thing will actually kill you. And the other person says, yeah, but, you know, is it really going to kill you? Maybe it'll just go away. I mean, that's what I find really interesting. How the politics now and the politics then, this is, Shakespeare was just, he was prescient. The politics are it's such a science. And I never realized how much of a science it is until now, living under these last 3 years, of how you can just change the will of the people by opinion.
Yeah, wow, that's really, I've never thought of the difference in those terms, but that's really, really interesting. Thank you, Jerome. I'm going to pop us on to questions from the audience. We've got 3. The first one's an easy answer from Amber Elby. Will Monty reprise his role in Antony and Cleopatra? Yes, as will everyone who appears in that play. So we're going to see that through line continue on Friday. So come join us Friday, 5 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Apparently I've been saying EST all the time. It's supposed to be EDT.
Standard. Eastern Standard Time.
Are we Standard Time? I don't understand. Explain it to me in the pub.
Time's an illusion.
And then we have there are two questions that are similar, so I'll combine them. What is the most challenging part about virtual rehearsing? And as y'all answer that, out of curiosity, how many rehearsals have you had together?
I think
By far the
most-
hard.
Sorry.
That's the hardest part. Go ahead.
Exactly. I was gonna say the hardest part is what you lose in the contact with your actors while you're reading off to the side. You do pick so much up from listening, of course, but you definitely have to listen so much harder because you're missing little mannerisms in people's faces when you're not able to watch them the whole time.
Anybody else?
I just remembering which button to push. If you're sitting there listening, enjoying the performance, and then it's my turn.
Why do I have to go down the camera and click it? Why can't I just click on my little space and have it come on? That's because that's what I do, and then I go, oh no, wrong click.
Are you listening, Zoom? We have some suggestions for you.
Oh God.
This is for the 30s.
It does remind me of it reminds me of undergrad in the sense of like throwing down with your friends. I mean, like in doing this reading today, having like, oh, we got a scene, like let's find half an hour, let's find 20 minutes, let's find 40 minutes. And when you find the people, like when you get latched up in the right scene with the right people, and it can be any person in any scene, but we don't have rehearsal, but like this ensemble is built with artists who are, can I swear here, who are fucking hungry for like
Apparently you can.
this is what we love to do. So like when you get a chance to like throw down and be like, oh, we got this scene tonight, let's toss it around. It's just like it's childhood again. It's like, I got a football, let's hop in the backyard and let's play pass. Let's pass the ball around. I love it.
Yeah, on the like specific of the. So we have a voluntary read through the night before we do one of these, and always there are people who can't or don't need or whatever to make it, and that's great. And it's really mostly for us who've done the cuts to make sure there isn't a character that we didn't account for, or like that there isn't a just weird disaster that happens in the cut. And that's as formal as we get. But as Dan was saying, like y'all got together a few times just to play, right?
Yeah, pretty much just to like run through some things for either tech's sake or for just simple textual stuff. But yeah, very minimal.
Cool. And then our last question. To what extent do you feel like you sympathize with who you read for? And is there another character that modifies your own personal sympathy one way or the other?
Can you repeat that, please? And
yeah.
Can you say who asked this question?
Songi.
Nice.
To what extent do you feel like you sympathize with who you read for? And is there another character that modifies that sympathy?
Thanks, Sangi. I don't know that I can only speak personally. I don't know that I think I empathize with the character that I play every single time, regardless of who they are, what they did, what they're going to do. And that's kind of it as far as that acting world and me playing a character. However, like stepping out and looking at a play in the large, you kind of see everyone's point of view if it's good writing. If it's shitty writing, nah. But this is, easy to see every single individual's point of view, I think.
It is interesting reading these plays in a setting like this, that I feel like in table work or in a read through, oftentimes reading from the character's perspective with the end goal of the rehearsal process and the performance, whereas there's not that end goal for this is the end goal. It's a lot easier to just hear the play and to hear the arguments as opposed to kind of getting stuck in my point of view. I just think for me anyway, that's interesting in this process without kind of an end goal, with this being the end goal. It's a little closer to hand, listening to other points of views.
Yeah, that's really, I totally agree with that. I'm having that exact same experience. Yeah, well said, Josh. Anybody else? All righty. Well, thank you all so much. Amazing job. Thank you all so much for joining us, for your amazing questions. If you are a Patreoner at the well or top tier level, some of us will see you in the company pub very shortly. If you're not, why not? And hopefully we'll see you all back on Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern something time, for Antony and Cleopatra continuing and finishing up this
Standard.
All right.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, I'll get it wrong if I try it. Bye.